Yes, YouTube, we're back online for episode 3 of the prep series. So today I'm going to be covering some fat loss tips. There are loads of things that you can do to make the fat loss process a whole lot easier for yourself. And I feel like fellas who are trying to lose weight and trying to get lean, they're like, oh, I want to suffer. I'm going to throw myself headfirst into the trenches from the get-go. And that's not the way to do it. Like, that's a surefire way to guarantee that you don't get to where you want to be. So I'm going to run through just tips and tricks that I'm doing as I go through the day to help me not feel as hungry throughout the day, to give me a little bit more energy throughout the day, and ultimately how to keep on top of recovery as well. So I'm just clocking in my first lot of steps now. I woke up probably 45 minutes ago, had a wash, hydrated, came straight out for some steps before having any food. Tip number 1 is to push your first meal back as far as you possibly can. It's much easier to be hungry in the morning as opposed to being hungry when you're trying to go to bed. So what I like to do is push my first meal back as far as I possibly can. And what that's going to do is allow me to eat more of my food later on in the day, which means that by the time I go to bed, I shouldn't really be that hungry. And again, by waking up and just heading straight out for some steps, I'm genuinely not really even thinking about being hungry. Like I've not got it on now, but I've got a podcast on, I'll stick a podcast on and I'll just walk. And that distracts me from being hungry. So number 2, starting off with some bangers, is to just keep yourself busy. And what I've just touched on there, if you can just keep your mind occupied and keep yourself busy, that distracts yourself away from being hungry. I've found it before when I've done my photo shoots and diets in the past. When I'm sat down and I've not got a lot of food to eat and I'm not keeping myself busy, all I'm doing is sitting there and thinking about how hungry I am. So if you can do, I don't know, do an activity, play some paddle or watch a film with your missus or whatever it might be, just do something to keep you busy. So I've got my first meal. The time is currently 5 minutes past 9. I woke up at just after 6, so it's been almost 3 hours, and to be honest, I'm only 4 weeks into my cut, so I'm not actually at the point yet where I'm starving and I need to make sure that I'm pushing that first meal back as far as I possibly can. But if you've been dieting for a couple of months, maybe 2-3 months, and you're getting to the point where hunger is prevalent, like you're hungry all day, every day, then that's where pushing that first meal back is really going to be beneficial for you. But for me, because I'm still on a decent bit of food, like I'm training today, I'm on 3.7k calories, which I know sounds like a lot of food, but it's all relative. Like, I am still hungry consuming that amount of food. So I've got my first meal now. I'll have my next one probably in 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and then it's time to hit a leg day. So breakfast, standard, 2 eggs, 200 egg whites, 1 bagel with some ketchup. And then tip number 3 for the video. So to make your dieting a lot easier, you want to try and suppress your hunger. Now, one way that you can do that naturally is by having a coffee. So I've got an iced coffee. This is what I'm on at the moment, iced coffees. I've never actually made one myself. I've always bought them out. I've always bought them when I've been abroad. But I thought, last week it was really hot. It was like 30 degrees. So I thought, let me make an iced coffee. And I've been using some 0-calorie syrup. Oh my God, it tastes so good. So yeah, 0 calories helps me to suppress my appetite and it tastes nice. So coffee, breakfast. Also got some electrolytes. They don't really help with dieting. I mean, drinking a lot of water does help with dieting, but electrolytes literally just to keep me hydrated. So I'm going to get all this boxed off. I'm going to get all this eaten. Looking forward to it because I am a little bit hungry. And then it's time for a little work block. Come for a rare outing at Starbucks. Find it a little bit hard to be productive because I work in my bedroom, still live with my parents, which is sad. I need to move out. So come out. Been much more productive. I actually came here a couple of days ago and I was absolutely blitzing through my work. So have had another coffee. It's a bit spenny, I'm not gonna lie. I can't be coming in here every day. The coffee that I get is 540, large Americano with, well, it was 7 today, 7 shots of sugar-free caramel syrup. Unreal. But that's another thing, like I mentioned before, I'm not really that hungry now. But I know in probably 4, 6, 8 weeks, I'm going to be tanning some coffees. I'll tell you that for free. I'll probably be on 3, 4 a day. One thing to note with the coffees is Do not drink, well, don't have any caffeine within 8 hours of going to bed, because that is going to disrupt your sleep. So if you're in a deficit, you need to be protecting your sleep. Sleep is the most important thing to keep energy in a good spot, to keep your mood in a good spot, to keep recovery in a good spot. So not sure I'll be having 3 or 4 coffees from here a day, because I'll be broke in a couple of months. But yeah, it's been really good, really productive. It's nice just to work somewhere different. And again, the coffee is absolutely banging. Got a little bit more editing to finish off. That's literally what I've been doing. I've been sat in here for probably an hour and a half, literally just editing some reels that I filmed yesterday. I need to go back home shortly, have my pre-workout meal, let that digest, and then it's time for a naughty little leg day. I will say though, hay fever is kicking my ass. Past few days, I've had a blocked nose. I'm really wary about mouth breathing, because I know that if you breathe through your mouth, your skin under your chin starts to push out, and I don't want that. I like having a chiseled jawline, I'm sure as everyone does, so I need to stop mouth breathing. I've bought myself some nose tape, and I use mouth tape when I sleep because I've noticed my missus said I'm snoring, and I don't want that. Typically people snore because you're breathing through your mouth, and I think because I'm relatively heavy for me, well, now I'm a little bit lighter, but I was 105 kilos. I think I was struggling to breathe when I was asleep, so got some mouth tape so I can't breathe through my mouth. Got myself some nose tape to widen my nostrils so I can take more air in, and it was working a treat. So I'm just going to keep rinsing and repeating that. I've got some mouth tape on order. I've actually already got some mouth tape and then some nose tape as well. I might even consider just repping nose tape all day, every day, because at the moment I can barely breathe through my nose and it's frustrating, especially when I'm training and I'm trying to catch my breath. Work to finish, pre-workout meal to eat. Catch you shortly. Now then, we are in for a leg day, kicking things off with seated hamstring curl. I think one thing that a lot of fellas mess up with when they come to diet is they start changing their training around. So you think, oh, I need to do more reps, I need to do more volume. And genuinely, that's the worst thing that you can do. When you're training in a diet, you want to hold on to all of the tissue that you've got. So what helped you to build that muscle is going to help you to hold on to the muscle. So with every single set, I'm taking it to failure. I'm not changing my rep ranges. The exact same program that I followed during my whole off season, 9 months of it, I'm doing the exact same thing. And I'm going to try and maintain my weights. I'm going to try and progress. So for the first set here, we are on 80 kilos. That's for a working set. Literally just cranking out as many reps as I possibly can. And then I've got 2 sets following. So I've got a top set, and then I've got a back off set, and then I've got another back off set where I will be dropping the weight and increasing the reps for every single one. Next up, onto leg press. Heavy exercise for today. I've not done any direct quad work at the moment. I've not done any quad work, so I'm going to spend a good few sets warming up. A leg press is a lift that's heavy, so you need to spend a couple of sets at the very least warming up to get yourself up to that working weight. So last session I got 380 for 4, so I've got 360 on here just to see how I get on, trying to go for some more reps, and I did actually only manage to get 4 reps, which is a little bit of a bummer. But again, I've not got any nose breathing enabled during this session. I'm just breathing through my mouth, so I will cut myself a little bit of slack. Back off set number 1 is going to be 320 kilos. Last week I got 8 reps, and this week I got 9. So there's a progression. I did do another back off set, but didn't record it. And now we are on to pendulum squat. I'm not going to lie, I do have a love-hate relationship with the pendulum squat. It's a great exercise for knee flexion, for you to train your quads. I don't know if it's just this pendulum squat in particular, but I'm just not a massive fan. Anyway, we've got a couple of sets on here, so 50 kilos for 7 reps, and then we are on to some single leg stuff. So heading into the end of the session, onto single leg press. So this is more hamstring and glute biased with my foot higher up on the platform, just doing this single leg to iron out some imbalances, and then we are on to leg extension. So leg extension here, I'm focusing on the lengthen part of the movement. So as you go through a session, it's harder and harder for you to contract your muscles. It's harder and harder for you to get your muscles in the short position. So this exercise here, I'm not really focusing on getting into that contraction. I'm more focused on spending time in the stretch, controlling the eccentric, and ultimately just taking my quads to total failure. And we're back. That session was a little bit of a grueler. I had a blocked nose for the entirety of it, and then I was on my last set of my last exercise on my leg day, and my AirPods died. So I had 30 minutes cardio with no AirPods. And if you don't already know, because you don't follow me on Instagram, cardio, I'm not a fan of cardio. It is the last thing that I want to do, but it gets done regardless because I've got goals to hit. And I bang on a lot about setting goals, and I was sat on that bike, and there were numerous times where I thought, I don't want to do this, but I did it anyway. It's having that goal in place where your mindset is just bulletproof. And that's exactly where I'm at. Like that leg day as well, I was heading in, I was thinking, I've got a blocked nose, like it's just irritating, it's annoying. But I got in there and I progressed some sets, and I'm almost 10 kilos down, so that's huge. And then with the cardio as well, I'm at the point now where my emotions just don't really have any effect on what I need to do. It's a case of, right, today, training legs, cardio, steps need to get done, and they get done regardless. Like it's chucking it down now. I'll show you outside. I don't know if you can see the rain. You can see the movement there. I've got 3K steps to box off. I know it's not a lot of steps, but it's raining. It's not going to be very pleasant, and there's no way I'm not doing them. I'm just at that point where I'm just laser focused and there is literally nothing getting in the way. So my next tip, dieting tip, is to eat foods that are high on the satiety index. So I'm sure you've heard this before, but potatoes are literally the GOAT food because they're low calorie. You can eat really large volumes of potatoes whilst keeping the calories low, and they're highest on the satiety index, which essentially means that potatoes are the best food to actually keep you full after you've consumed it. Other sources are eggs, white fish, red meat. Realistically, anything that's low in calories and you can consume a large volume of it, it's going to be beneficial for satiety. Like, for example, Greek yogurt is amazing, egg whites are amazing. So tip number 4 is foods that are high on the satiety index. So I've got my favourite meal of the day, which is 2 crumpets, jam, Cocoa Pops. You know the dance. Post-workout. So this is what I'm on post-workout every single session. So I'm going to eat this. Hopefully the rain does subside because it's getting pretty naughty, to be honest. I'm hoping you can see that on the camera, but it's getting pretty miserable. Worst case scenario, I have to do some steps on the stepper that I've got downstairs inside, which it's not the end of the world. However, it's very slow. Doing steps on the walking pad is so slow compared to doing them outside. So we'll have to see if the weather subsides. But if not, I'm definitely using the walking pad because, yeah, it's pretty brutal out there. This video has just turned into another full day of eating. So meal number 4 is arguably my favourite meal. I know I said my last meal was my favourite one, but I do also love this one. I like the sweet meals. So we've got oats, banana, peanut butter. Peanut butter and dark chocolate are interchangeable fat sources, pretty much the same in terms of calories and macros. Now, the next tip to help you on your fat loss journey is diet drinks. Now, there are a couple of reasons for this. First of all, you get a sweet hit, so if you've got any cravings for any sweet stuff, that is going to help out. And the second thing, which is a little bit of a, not unknown, and it's a very sort of slight benefit, it actually does fill you up. For me, the carbonation from these drinks does help me to feel fuller, does help to subside a little bit of that hunger. So not only does it help to cure those sweet cravings, but it does also help to fill you up. One thing I will say with sugar-free syrups and diet drinks is be careful not to have too many, especially for me. It does disrupt my digestion. If I'm having 3, 4, maybe even 5 of these a day, which I have done in the past, which I know is a lot, these do start to disrupt my digestion. Now, when you're in a deficit, digestion is so important, so important. Digestion, good digestion is going to help you have better energy. It's going to help you to have better recovery because you're absorbing more nutrients from the food that you're taking in. Poor digestion is going to have the adverse effects to what I've just listed. So poor energy, poor recovery, poor nutrient uptake, which is going to affect everything. That's going to wrap it up for this video, people. I do have another meal to eat, but I'm not going to bore you with that. That's all for the fat loss tips this video. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you've got any problems or any questions, drop them in the comment section. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Don't forget to drop me a sub. Don't forget to like it. And I will catch you in the next one. Peace.